Hey guys, welcome back. This is HD, and I'm coming at you guys with a special series of games here. This is from the Heart of the Swarm custom game that is available on battle.net right now. I mentioned this in a previous video. I think it was in the White-Ra versus MMA series that I casted that was from the IPL a few days ago. And a lot of people posting on my Facebook, Twitter, and even on the comment section of the video below saying that they really wanted to see me play the Heart of the Swarm custom game. So I'm going to go ahead and do one video for every race. I want to remind you guys right away, though, that the custom game doesn't use the actual models from Heart of the Swarm. There's just really no way to import the models. I'm sure there is, because the map editor is like God's gift to us nerds. But yeah, there isn't currently any perfect model for every unit. So essentially they use, for example, the swarm host, something that spawns out locusts, sort of like the pseudo lurker. Instead of spawning out actual locusts and instead of looking like a swarm host, it's basically a lurker from the map editor, and the locusts are like little mini hydralisks. So essentially, you know, it has all the upgrades, all the abilities, all the enhancements from Heart of the Swarm and changes, just not the right model. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And if you guys want to play this game, it's very easy to do. Currently, there is this is available for Tal'Daram Altar. It's available for Metalopolis, as you guys see here. It's also available for Shakura's Plateau, and I think one more that I'm not too 100% sure about. So this is going to be my my Zerg video. I'm just going to be detailing some of the new units, the abilities, and you know, I guess the purpose of this video is to really show you guys how they interact in the current fold of StarCraft 2, how they integrate themselves, how the new abilities and units and spells integrate themselves into, you know, the current spells and abilities, how they can be used together, and how they match up against your opponent. So, yeah, I'm going to be facing this guy here called Kraz, who I believe is Masters. I went ahead and joined the game, and I created the game and he joined on me. I've never played with him before. Just kind of chatting it up with him, being friendly and all. By the way, guys, if you guys want to be able to play this, all you guys have to do is go type in HOTS on the custom games search bar on Battle.net, and it'll come up. It's not too hard to find. So yeah, check it out after you guys watch this video. Maybe check out my Protoss one and my Terran one as well. And yeah, we should have a pretty good time. So I think my opponent here is going to be a Terran player, if I recall correctly. Yes, it is. So there's a Marine, there's an SCV. So he has spawned from the cross spawn across from me. So pretty standard stuff so far. And really, if you guys are watching this, you guys are probably already noticing, you know, everything looks pretty normal. There's nothing out of the ordinary. There's nothing too changed. In fact, there's nothing changed so far. And that's really the design philosophy, I think, to an extent at least, for Heart of the Swarm. They didn't like revamp the entire game. They added in maybe 2 or 3 new units for each race, changed some abilities here, tinkered with some settings there, and you know, they didn't want to change the core value of the gameplay too much. And you know, in the beginning here, everything looks pretty common. You can't really do anything differently, at least as Zerg, right away. But I will try to show you guys every ability, every unit that I possibly can. I mean, obviously, I'm going to try to win as well, even though, you know, winning doesn't really matter because it is a custom game. But I want to show you guys you know, a relatively good game. I don't want to just be a snore fest. So here comes my speed upgrade. So yeah, that's going to be pretty normal stuff. I have a couple of Zerglings moving out right now just to go scout the map, and this is just the things that I would normally do in any game, and especially against a Terran, you know, just spreading overlords around the map just to watch for any medevacs and drops and stuff like that. By the way, if you guys enjoyed this video, oh wow, that's a lot of Marines. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Post in the comments down below. I'll you know, try to make more videos like this. I definitely want to do a Protoss and a Terran one. And you know, like I said before, just to show you guys how Heart of the Swarm is going to work for StarCraft 2. Anyways, I did see a lot of barracks there, so I guess this video is going to be kind of a HD ladder battle / Heart of the Swarm video. But yeah, I did see a lot of barracks there, and you know, I'm just going to throw a couple of spine crawlers here because that's an unusually, well, maybe not too unusual, but that is a large number of barracks, and what makes it unusual is the number of Marines I saw on the ramp. So that's a little bit iffy for me. Just want to make sure I don't die to something early before I can show you guys all the cool new units. And I think I'm just probably going to play a pretty standard game before I even touch the new units. In fact, as Zerg, you can't get them until you get up to lair anyways. And the very first unit you get is a Viper, which is essentially... it's essentially a flying defiler. That's what a lot of people are calling it right now. And when you think about it, it really is. It's got a Dark Swarm-ish like ability, more like Disruption Web, I would say. To me, at least, I feel like the best unit in the game is probably the Swarm Host. A lot of people argue and say that it's probably more likely the Viper. And I have to say, to that I have to say, you know what? Combine the Swarm Host and the Viper together for Zerg, and you have an almost unstoppable combination. The Swarm Host's actual range, when you set the rally point from the Swarm Host, keep in mind, guys, the Swarm Host is essentially the lurker. If you guys don't know the Zerg units, check out my Zerg video about Heart of the Swarm, posted a couple weeks ago. Essentially, it's a lurker. It spawns like little broodlings on the ground. You can set the rally, and it can go the actual distance the locust can go once they spawn from the Swarm Host, and run all the way until they expire their life. It's about 20 to 25 range, so it is something ridiculous. And when you combine that with the fact that they come with like 120 HP and they do like 15 damage per attack, they're off the walls bonkers. I mean, you can out-siege, outrange anything in the game at 25 range. Essentially, that's what it is. It's to me, it's the most overpowered unit right now. But if you also combine it with the Viper, it just becomes ridiculous, because then you can give, well, you can make everything everything loses their ranged attack, so they become melee ranged, which is horrible, of course, for any race but Zerg. I guess Protoss, Zealots, and Archons aren't gonna, you know, sweat that too much because they have some melee units. But against Terran, they are just going to be screwed up the backside hole, and yeah, that's not good. I wonder if the Battle Hellion, which is essentially a fire bat now from Heart of the Swarm, I wonder if that can attack under the Binding Cloud. Anyways, maybe that'll be for a future video. But yeah, let's see here. I am going to start to build some of the new units now because my lair is done. There is a Battle Hellion coming around the back. Essentially, like you guys see right here, it is a fire bat. It takes like 3 seconds to convert from a Hellion. Decent unit because it's basically a beefier version of the Hellion, and you know, just less mobile but more beefy. And there is the very first new unit in Heart of the Swarm. Now keep in mind, guys, this isn't the model. The model is actually, if you guys want to see the model, it is in my Zerg video I uploaded a couple of weeks ago detailing the changes and updates and everything. And there are the Swarm Hosts as well. Essentially just lurker model. You burrow them under the ground, and as soon as they go underground, they start to spawn little locusts, 2 at a time. And you guys can see the expire time on those locusts, which right there is just a little mini Hydralisk if you guys look closely enough. So yeah, they keep spawning out. You can set a rally from each Swarm Host to go wherever you want. And, you know, this is just going to be my Zerg strategy, honestly. For me, I'm just going to be using Vipers and Swarm Hosts and Cracklings all day long. I view that as the, you know, unstoppable strategy. If you think about it in Brood War, that's what Zerg was all about, man. They were all about Vipers, well, not Vipers, Defilers, Ultras, and Cracklings. They were damn near unstoppable, and that's really how good Zerg is. So I'm glad that we have a mechanism now to, you know, to control the board in the middle of the map with these kind of units like the Lurker, and then we also have kind of like a Dark Storm ability. It's going to definitely make the game very interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and do our routine standard scout and, you know, find out what this guy Kraz is up to. And I have a bad habit of doing this. I always send my Overlord in, but I don't actually look because there's always so many things to do in StarCraft 2. I just look once the Overlord has made its pass. But yeah, so it looks like he's just going standard biomech. He has an armory down as well. Keep in mind also he has access to all the new Heart of the Swarm units, to which I haven't seen him use any except the Battle Hellion. So he's probably just kind of testing the waters just like I am. But yeah, I decided, you know, now's a good opportunity. Let's go ahead and, you know, try this new guy out a little bit and see how this Viper works. Remember, guys, the Viper is it requires you to have a lair. That's all it requires, and it's 100 minerals, 150 gas, I want to say. They took out the Overseer, and the first ability on the Viper is that Ocular Parasite. It allows you to, well, put an eyeball on any friendly unit you have, and then it makes it a detector. In this case, it spawns a egg on the unit's head, so kind of interesting. So yeah, there's a little medevac drop going on there. No problem. I'm just gonna send my lings and lurk. Excuse me, man. Lings and swarm hosts over there. I'm never gonna be able to, you know, change the way I call certain units. Just like how I still call the dropship or the medevac a dropship. It's very hard to change habits. Anyways, here's the second ability. It is abduct. Essentially, it just launches a huge tentacle and yanks it back. And that's what it does in the heart of the swarm. I actually got to use that quite a bit when I was in Anaheim at the BlizzCon Convention Center. But think about the possibilities you can do with that. You can yank tanks, you can yank key units like ghosts out of the battle, or yank them into your units, which is probably a little bit smarter. You can also, of course, yank colossi towards you and away from their protective underball, so to say. But yeah, you guys can see now I have the composition I was talking about. Essentially, it's just Ling Lurker Defiler or a Ling Swarm Host Viper, whichever way you guys want to call it. And it's time to execute this a little bit. Now, of course, this is going to require a little bit of micro, which I think is going to be great. You're going to have to, of course, move in with your swarm hosts and burrow them for them to attack, and you still have to cast those spells from the Viper. Now, I was messing up my micro a little bit. Thankfully, swarm hosts spawn the most powerful units ever. Look at how strong they are, just pushing that Marine army back. And every, I think, 15 or 20 seconds, they pop out more. I don't know why I'm not using Binding Cloud right now. Go, use Binding Cloud. Go, there we go. There's the Binding Cloud. So everything under that cloud is reduced to melee range. And Marines, when they only have melee range, they're not so happy. They don't come equipped with bayonets anymore. At least I don't think they did. I don't think they do. But there's the power, really, of the Swarm Host, combined with the Viper, combined with Zerglings. And look at those Locusts. When they pop out, man, they just go. And their timed life is just so big. It's so long, it's like 30, maybe not 30, it's like 20 seconds. I can literally sit here and just have the Swarm Host spawning units, and there's nothing the Terran can do about it. And trust me, I played Terran, so I know. I played Terran in this custom game and at BlizzCon, so I know it's very difficult for Terrans to deal with. I honestly am of the opinion that they're probably going to change the Swarm Hosts, probably going to make the Locusts a little bit weaker. But there you guys see my Locusts spawning from the Swarm Hosts. Just going to work. Yank a Marauder here, there, toy with my opponent. Having some fun. And look how strong those Locusts are. They are beating down that PF. They're just doing an obscene amount of damage. You know, and I could just sit back and just kind of chill now. This is something that Zerg didn't have when, you know, StarCraft 2 came out. We lost it in Brood War. We lost the Lurker. Now we're going to be able to we can out-siege opponents. Before we could never out-siege opponents. But now with this like 20 range unit, we can out-siege anything. So there I am setting the rally for these Swarm Hosts. Now, when I say 20 range, of course, effectively, imagine if I had all my Swarm Hosts just rallied over to my opponent's natural. I think the Locust would actually reach the natural from here. And I'm not kidding with you guys. I actually think they could. That's how long they go. So, they're pretty insane. Anyways, just gonna play around with this combination a little bit more. Obviously, this is going to make the game quite a bit more interesting to watch, in my opinion. I'm gonna try to go ahead and poke at my opponent's natural because I feel like he probably doesn't have any units here because he's defending. Using the abduct ability right there, essentially it's just a Death Knight's Death Grip. And that little red flare right there coming on the left of the screen, that's actually this custom game's version of the Shredder. The Shredder, of course, is basically it's a mobile unit. You burrow it or you deploy it, and it damages all units around it. It does like 20 DPS as long as there's no friendly unit in range. And so there's my opponent. He's also confirming that the Swarm Host is godlike. Absolutely. You guys can see my Locust now popping out of the Swarm Host. I mean, even with the Shredder there, it actually just went down right there, that explosion death animation. But even with the Shredder there, the Swarm Hosts are still really, really good. You know, the one thing that works actually pretty well against the Locust is the Blue Flame Hellion. So my opponent unfortunately didn't have any here. I'm just basically sieging the crap out of him using the Viper's Binding Cloud, using the Viper's abductability, just slowly inching forward closer and closer to victory. And you know, there's really not much you can do at this point when there's this many Swarm Hosts out on the field. It's pretty much damn near impossible for him to win. So, you know, you can just kind of sit back here and just chill. I also wanted to go ahead and show you guys some of the hive abilities for Zerg. There's actually the ability now for banelings to move underground. There's an ability for ultras to burrow charge, so I'm going to try to get up to those abilities if my opponent doesn't leave the game. So we'll see if I can do that or not. Like some banelings here. That's a lot of banelings. My opponent's actually moving out with a decent army. He got past my locust, or my swarm host contain. I guess that's the one thing that's different about swarm hosts and banelings, but lurkers, is if those were actually lurkers, then the Terran would have never been able to move past. But since they're swarm hosts and the units spawn every so often, you're not actually contained. Terran players can actually walk right over it as long as they can get in there before the swarm hosts, morph out those locusts. Alright, so I am at hive right now. I think I've researched the burrow ability. No, I definitely didn't want to do that. I self-detonated my banelings, but I wanted to go ahead and... I don't think I show you guys the full range of the swarm host in this video. And that's because I really want to show you guys the banelings. The banelings are just so good, but there's some more locust action for you guys from the swarm hosts. Moving into the tanks. There's nothing those tanks can do. They're just getting out-sieged. Right here's a great example. They are getting out-ranged by the most longest range unit in the game, effectively. Some more sweet abducts. My opponent is dropping me in the back of my third. That's okay. I pretty much have this game in the bag. I'm just waiting for the upgrade for the banelings to move underground right now, because it is a pretty lengthy upgrade. It requires you to have hive. And as soon as I get that upgrade, I'll be able to show you guys some pretty sexy stuff. Here we go. So the upgrade essentially, yeah, that's pretty fast. The upgrade essentially allows banelings to move underground at half their above ground speed. So if you research centrifugal hooks, then they move faster underground as well. So I wanted to go ahead and just kind of toy with my opponent, get all of these banelings up in his base, but there's a missile turret there, and I didn't want him to see what was going on, so I sent the locust to kill off that turret. And now I should be able to, oh no, erase the supply depot wall. So, since he raised the supply depot wall, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to let all my swarm hosts know that I want them to send their locusts over to that wall. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So all those locusts now banging down the front door. Not much the tanks can do. Locust still alive. Throw down some binding cloud to make them, I don't know, make it look a little cooler. You're actually supposed to throw it on marines. It's not the same as Dark Swarm. I got to get that concept out of my head, because before that's how Dark Swarm worked. It made units impervious to ranged attacks. But anyways, I have my banelings underground now, so it's time to have a little bit of funsies. I'm not entirely sure how I want to maneuver this, because I want to do the most damage possible. But unfortunately, my opponent really doesn't have anything to kill. So here we go. Detonate time? Oh yeah. I actually unburrowed rather than detonated. But good enough. So that's that. My opponent is pretty much out of this game, so I'm just going to go ahead and unburrow all my swarm hosts and go ahead and send them in for the W. So following this, I'm going to go ahead and make a, I don't know if I'm going to make the Terran or Protoss one first. I'm definitely most well versed in the Zerg one. I've played Zerg the most, obviously, guys. You guys all know I'm a Zerg player. My Protoss and Terran run, I'm not going to lie, probably won't be as in-depth, might not be as good. I might lose, actually, because I'm that bad. But I'll give it my best shot and see how it goes. Die. Anyways, I don't know what I'm waiting for. I don't know what my opponent's waiting for here. I guess he's still kind of just testing out the units, trying things out, and just seeing how things are going right here in this custom game. Okay, there we go. So he snuck an expansion down to the right, or down to the 6 o'clock. That's why he hasn't left yet. That's not a problem. That's actually going to give me an opportunity to try out the newest, and actually the last ability of the Zerg, which is the darn, what's it called? The burrow charge ability for Ultralisks. So that's pretty sweet. I think I have an Ultralisk cavern. Yes, I do. Okay, so he went ahead and left the game, so he's done. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and stay in the game because I want to show you guys the Ultralisk burrow charge ability for those of you guys who may not have seen it yet. But essentially, that is my Zerg video. More action with the Swarm Hosts and the Locusts. Like I said before, guys, I really feel like the Locusts and the Swarm Host combination is just, along with the Viper, is just so good. I really feel like Blizzard is probably going to end up changing the way the Swarm Host works. Either they're going to make the Locusts have a lot less HP, because 120 HP is ridiculous. It's just way too much, and the damage you do is just insane. So I think they're going to either reduce the health, reduce the time. I don't know. They're going to make some kind of tweak. But yeah, there's the charge ability. I'm just looking at the tooltip. It's pretty cool that this custom game actually has tooltips. But it's essentially a zealot charge, except you go underground, and I don't know if there's a difference fundamentally. There it is, there's the charge. I don't know if there's a fundamental difference from that and the actual zealot charge. Like, are you invulnerable while you're underground, or is there any benefits? But all I know is it looks cool. So there's my Burrow Charge Ultralisk charging into a orbital, and for whatever reason in this custom game they get bugged if you go under a building. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm going to have another video coming up after this. Thanks all, and I'll see you guys later.